My hair's looking all funny.
Hello, everybody.
It looks like we're live.
Yeah, we are live and ready for action.
If you're seeing this, hey, look at it. We got 3 thumbs up, and we're only 8 seconds into this. We're starting this one out good.
Right off the gate.
Nice. So,
hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us, whether it's now or I know that we've had a few people that watch us on replay habitually. So thank you for everybody that either joins us live or the replay. So thank you. We appreciate you spending some time with us this time of the week.
Yep. We got a lot to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And we got a couple of changes. We're talking about, just before we started the live stream, we were talking about...
hey, Perma Pastor, we were just looking at one of your videos.
Yeah.
Yay, thank you for making it.
Yeah, Perma Pastors, we're trying to figure out when your live stream was scheduled, and it looks like it's on Fridays. So we're actually thinking about moving our live stream time from Saturday to Friday.
But then Paul was like, I think that's when Perma Pastor is on. So we were at your page looking at different live streams. So we wanted to know when it is that you come on, if it's like a time slot. Hello, 4-Day.
Hi, Anna.
Aw. Says, I will listen while I get ready for work. Oh, thank you. That's really sweet of you. So yeah, we do have some announcements. One of them is that we actually have had a crazy week. Not crazy, just busy. Productive week. It's been good. I know it's hard for a lot of homesteaders right now to be doing live streams or coming on live streams. We were talking about that the other day because the sun's out and it's great. Farmers are outside doing stuff and people are out with their animals and
when the sun's not out, you're in bed,
yeah.
Or at least we should be.
Yeah, we should be.
We do kind of have a period of time where we come in. The sun's going down right around 8 o'clock now for us. And we have another 2 or 3 hours till we actually go to sleep. But
so yeah, we want to talk about what we did this week. So one of them is we actually had one of our neighbors over for dinner. We had been wanting to have them over. So we dropped by, what was it, last week? And invited them and we had them over. And so that was really neat. I made tacos. I was trying to remember what it was that I made. And I made tacos. And yeah, it was some good times. We sat around chit-chatting for a while. And then last Sunday, we had gone to the sister church, to our church. And one of the ladies there was telling us that a family moved here to Kentucky from California.
To our town.
Yeah, to our town. And she's telling us like details, and she's saying to us like, oh, they're a large family. They live in an RV. They're fixing the house. They homeschool. What was the other thing? Well, they moved here from
They're into a regenerative farming.
Hello, Wickershire.
Hey, Billy. Hey, that reminds me. Wickershire's Billy, and Perma Pastor's also Billy.
Yeah, so we have some Billies and Anna.
And maybe my dad will show up, and then that'll be another Billy.
That reminds me, Anna, I know you said you're getting ready for works, so you may or may not be able to, but have you received your magazine? I was curious. I was thinking about it. I'm like, I wonder if they ever got that. I guess I could have tracked it, but I didn't. I
think she sent an email saying that they did receive the magazine.
Maybe the information wasn't passed down through the grapevine.
I think. I don't remember though.
So going back to the family. So she was telling us about it, and it was interesting because we're just sitting around chatting. She's like, yeah, you should meet up. And here in Kentucky, where we're at, they have this weird habit, and they don't give actual directions. So they don't say, here, I'll text you the address, or the address is blah, 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 and so you can Google it. No, instead they're like, you go down the street. Tell you. You'll see some boulders, and then like you go a little further, and it's like right there, but you can't miss it. And then like you drive, and you're like, I see no boulders, and I see nothing. Like I'm driving.
Yeah. You know what I think one of the worst description is? We keep getting these descriptions. We live in rolling hills, and we'll get a description like you're going to go up and down, and then like as you're going down, you're at the bottom, and like that's not a description. Like you can't Okay, now you're going up. You kind of get up to the top of the hill, then you make a right.
Yeah.
It's like, what hill? After how many miles?
And what do I consider a hill? You consider a hill. Can you guys hear us? Right, I'm noticing that I'm seeing no green little bars down here, and it just made me wonder. Can you guys hear us? Are we having audio?
The Wickershire can hear us all right.
Yeah.
They must be. He's talking about Kentucky directions right there.
Yeah, it's interesting, and we're like, no, but like, what is the address? They're like, oh no, you won't miss it. Or the other ones that we've gotten is they have no address. You're like, everything has an address.
Yeah, don't give me that.
We want GPS coordinations. Yeah. Oh, good. Thank you for letting us know about the volume. Yes, I agree. Like even the GPS coordination, like the number is better than like you go down. So they had told us about this family from California, and they're like, you go down this highway, and then like you see a White House. Like you go a little further, you see the White House, and it's right before the White House. You turn, and then there's like fork, and then you turn, and you're like, So we actually went hunting for them one day, and
Tuesday. Yeah,
we're driving, and I was telling Paul, it is so funny to think that because they're from the West, that people are like, you should meet up. Like you guys are doing the same thing, and here we are looking for these strangers. So we ended up not finding the house because we had some directions and we remembered some. So we ended up contacting the lady that told us about it, and she gave us directions, clear directions. But even then, it wasn't physical address. Like it was literally like, go to the White House. The worst is, I can't get there from here. Obviously, you do not travel. That is so true. So we ended up finding the family, and it's like Paul says, like the directions are easy when you know. Mm-hmm. Like once you know, like the directions make sense. So we got there, and it was interesting because they're kind of like, "Hi, what are you doing? Like, what's going on?" And
well, only the husband and two of the kids were there when we first got there. So we talked to him. We probably talked to him for about an hour before his wife showed up.
Maybe even more than that.
Yeah.
And then his wife showed up, and then next thing you know, it's hours later, and we're like, we really gotta go. Like, it's getting late, and it was so sweet. It was nice because we had so many things in common, mm-hmm. And even the wife was like, "Man, I feel like I know you. Like, we have such a good connection that I feel like I've known you for years. Like, you're one of those people." And so that was really neat. And even as we're driving home, I'm telling Paul, that's crazy. We went looking for this family because people have told us about them. And here we are searching Kentucky for them. But we found them. So that was exciting.
Yeah, that was a good connection. And as my wife mentioned earlier, we had our neighbors over. And we're just trying to make the community we want to have and we want to live in. So we're trying to build that up and build up a network of people. Like-minded people, find those people that believe like we do. There's a lot of people, and there's probably even more than we realize, more than you realize. And a lot of it's just kind of extending yourself, putting yourself out there, and asking people, "Hey, would you like to come over?"
Yeah, Wickershire. Look at Wickershire says 75%. We are moving to Kentucky.
Really?
Yeah. And then it says unrestricted areas away from any major city/town. We're actually kind of considered not near any major. I mean, Glasgow, I think, is the closest big town. Mm-hmm. But even then, I mean, in comparison to what we're accustomed, that's not a very big town at all. So you are welcome to visit us if you ever want to, Wickershire.
Yeah, pay us a visit. That'd be awesome. We haven't arranged any gatherings to answer that question.
But you're invited.
But yeah, you're welcome to come over. There is a Heartland Homesteaders picnic that happens September 11th. And then we've kind of been watching that Sovereign Village project. And they've been talking about doing something in Central Tennessee, which is like, we can get almost anywhere in Central Tennessee within about an hour and a half or 2 hours. We're only about 25 minutes from the Tennessee border. So a lot of stuff that goes on in Tennessee is not too far for us. hold them on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's a go for sure. Yeah, if we do something, we'll definitely let you guys know about it.
We actually like having people over, and that's one thing that Paul and I were talking.
That's not a bad idea. Maybe we ought to set up some kind of little
meet and greet kind of a thing. That would be fun. We actually were talking about it. We're like, when we lived in town around all these people that we hang out with, we never had people. Okay, not never. We hardly had people over. And now that we've moved in the middle of nowhere, we're like, hey, come over. Hey, come over. And then like even the other family, we're like, what? Hang out with somebody? Yeah, sign me up. So I don't know what it is, but I like it because I feel a lot better connected with people. We're establishing these really great friendships. I always end up refreshed from them, even though I am an introvert. Part of me is like wind down, but at the same time, it's always refreshing just to catch up with someone and have someone there. So
yeah. So when we were talking with this family, when the guy's wife came home, then the women kind of went their own ways, and then the husband and I were talking, and so then, we had different types of conversations. So we were talking a lot about different farming techniques, and we went and looked at their garden just to see what they were doing. I think they've only been on that property since February, or no, they only own the property since February, and then they've only been on the property for like 3 weeks. So they don't really have a lot established, which is okay. I mean, but they want to get into cattle. I think they said they have right around 200 acres. They have a real big property, and they want to get into cattle, and they're really shooting toward setting things up the way Greg Judy does, and they're modeling a lot of what they do after Greg Judy and Joe Soliton, those type of regenerative farmers.
oh, look what Anne wrote. She just touched my little soul.
P.S. Go ahead.
Go ahead, read it.
You can't come all the way down here.
Do it, Papa, do it.
From Wisconsin, that'd be a long.
Now you gotta read it.
That'd be a long drive. Anna says, "Hi there. P.S. If you ever have a gathering, I'll be packing my camper van as fast as a shake of a lamb's tail."
Oh, Anna, you touched my little soul. We would love to have you guys over. Now I'm like kind of getting excited. We should do some kind of.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
We gotta look at a calendar and.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That would be, and then
we gotta pick something. I guess you can't go too far out, or you can't do it too soon because people need some time. But it's gonna start getting pretty warm, so we'd have to do it pretty quick. We'd either have to do it pretty quick,
or later,
like within the next 2 weeks, or we'd have to put it off until like fall because it's gonna get pretty warm around here. Mm-hmm. The only bummer is that our house is kind of under construction.
Yeah, so we can't have people like staying in the house. Oh, and then Wickershire said, hoping to have a small B&B set up, side cash. Yeah. Rental off-grid cabins. People can learn homesteading, solar, rainwater, basic gardening, etc. Yeah. And then Copperhead came in. So hello, Copperhead.
Hello, Daniel.
We actually talked about doing something similar to that. Setting up like an Airbnb and then doing a cabin. But for us, it's like later on. And a lot of people are like, no, people are willing just to set up their tents. And I'm like, well, I don't know if I personally want that just yet. So it's still in the works. Mm-hmm. But that is a great idea. And I think you should do it near us so we can hang out because I love hanging out.
I think there's different, like, there's not just Airbnb where you have like an actual structure. They've even got them for like camping sites. Like there's this Facebook group that I just joined. I think it was called like High Camp or Hip Camp or something like that. And it's a bunch of people who have these campsites that people come in and they pay a certain fee to stay overnight. But it doesn't always have to be an actual like building or something. I think you do have to provide a toilet. I think that's a big thing. So permapastures, you mentioned a gathering in Tennessee. is there an actual date for that? And if there is, can you put that in the chat? Because I know that they were talking about it, but I didn't think that they had decided on something. So Wickershire, you mentioned in the last time that I heard you were headed to Texas. You mentioned Kentucky. Do you have a location in Kentucky? And then you also mentioned the lack of restrictions. So that is a huge draw.
Mm-hmm.
Anywhere you can go where you don't have a ton of deed restrictions and you don't have all these building regulations, all this kind of stuff. I mean, we don't have zoning. We could literally have a barber shop and a resale store and a whatever we wanted to set up here. It could have residential and commercial and industrial and anything we wanted to do. So
we had talked to the county about, because we're doing the remodeling, and we talked about talking to them about restrictions, and they're like, there's nothing. No restrictions. The only thing is we have to talk to the electrical and the water whenever we're moving something, just for safety reasons, which we would do anyways.
Yeah, but that's just contacting the electric company or the water company if we had to do like a service move, like when we want to do the construction. Well, it's gonna happen first when we do the demolition of this little lean-to. On the house, you have the original structure that's 30 foot by 30 foot, and then they added a bathroom and a laundry room, but they just made a lean-to off the south side, and that needs to come down because they just put that on rocks, and like half of it's on the old porch, and then half of it's on rocks and like different miscellaneous blocks. So it's starting to sink down, and that needs to come down.
Before I forget, Ben Peters came in. So hello.
Oh, Ben Peters. I did see him, and that's AKA David.
Oh.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's his alias.
Hello, Ben Peters.
We know who you are, Ben Peters.
So hello.
Let's see.
And then Wickershire said July and August is brutal. And I agree. I'm not excited for those months. Our AC and the RV we haven't fixed yet. And it's starting to get warm. And I'm like, Paul, I'm going to start getting angry around here.
Yeah, that's something that we need to do. I'm going to write that down because I meant to do that last week. And luckily, we still probably have a couple of weeks of nice weather.
Today was, my goodness, beautiful.
If we put it off, we're going to get stuck in a hot day.
And then Wickershire mentioned some prices on tent sites and RVs and cabins. And
service.
I think it's a great idea because even what I consider out, not in the town, people are like, oh no, I'm in town and I want to get away. And I'm like, really? Because I feel like you're in Kentucky in the middle of nowhere. So what I'm saying is even the people that you think wouldn't want some kind of Airbnb do. And that's exciting. So you mentioned 3 locations in Kentucky, and then Texas is backup plan. So I want to know, well, you don't have to share it here. I want to know where they're at. I want to hang out. Wickershire, I want to hang out. And North Carolina is ideal too. We actually did look at Wickershire.
North Carolina. North Carolina was definitely on the possibilities list. We definitely did pros and cons versus I actually had a few job opportunities in North Carolina. So that's kind of what started this whole venture as a possibility, because the company I was working for was talking about relocating us. And that was one opportunity. And then the competitor company, actually, I had an interview with them and they wanted to hire me. But when we started looking at land values, and then we started looking at, this was in the Greensboro and Winston-Salem area. we started looking at land prices, and they were just really high, and we were having a hard time finding.
We would have liked to been there, but
Yeah.
like you said, a lot of it is just cost and our budget, and we're like, no, let's go somewhere more affordable. And so I actually fell in love with Kentucky. We had been here a couple times, and I'm like, whenever I get into Kentucky, I feel like I'm home, which is weird because I don't even live there. So I'm glad that we ended up here, though. I love it. And then Perma Pastor said, me and William are meeting with Matt and Gabby to work out a date, thinking early to mid-October.
Oh, cool.
And I was actually thinking if we ever did a meetup, I think like sometime in September makes sense. I know that the other one is 9/11, so definitely not around that time, but I'm thinking fall too.
Yeah, we could definitely make that work. So it sounds like they don't have a definite date. So that's good to know that that I didn't miss the date on that.
And then Wickershire said 20 years ago, I got to stay at a cabin in Maine, hunt blueberries.
He was a blueberry hunter.
Apple picking, pumpkin, and fishing on the pond and rivers. 110 per couple. Great time. That sounds actually like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It does. I'm like, wow, you did a lot with all that picking and hunting.
$300 now.
Yeah. And then Drop family came in. So hello.
He's eating his chicken pizza pockets.
That sounds really good.
Well,
my homemade chicken.
My wife actually made something for the first time that was, you could probably call that a chicken pizza pocket. Well, not pizza though. It had this like really flaky pastry crust. I think they're called what? Pastry sheets?
They're called chicken puff pastries.
Right, but the actual pastry dough stuff that you used.
It's from a recipe from Magnolia Farms, and it was so good. Like I was like, I don't know. It ended up being a lot more work than I thought it would be, but it was so worth it. It had bacon in there. And Melody is here. Hello, Melody.
Hi, Melody.
She says, hey, just coming on. How are you guys? Paul, you got a
Sacramento.
Yeah.
That's funny because
you noticed it.
We were watching Herb Ruby, and he's from Sacramento.
So our church in Tucson, we watched the live stream, and he's from Sacramento. So my sister was in Sacramento, and she got me the shirt. But it fit Paul, so Paul, it's Paul's shirt. It's my shirt. It's Paul's shirt now.
I wanted to show you guys a reference, a book that has been really helpful. This particular book I got here, I was talking to a neighbor whose kids, he owns about 40 acres and does not live on the property. He has an apple orchard that's probably 2 acres. And they lease out the rest of it to a farmer that does hay and tobacco. They kind of switch out some different stuff. But he was talking and asking me, what references would you recommend? What books would you recommend for someone who wants to homestead? And so this particular book here is one of the best books that I have found for homesteaders. Of course, there's a ton of stuff online and a ton of stuff on YouTube. But if you don't have that for whatever reason, if you can't access YouTube or whatever it may be, this particular book, if you had a hard copy of it, it could really get you through a lot of. Yeah, it's a very big book. And the pages are almost like newsprint. They're really thin, but the amount, I'll show you. Look at this page. I was actually just looking up some stuff on blueberries.
While you're looking for that. So Free Handling Maid came in. So hello. And then you said, I have exciting news. So I want to hear this exciting news.
Hold on. So,
you're looking for blackberries. I was entertaining.
No. Don't be entertaining nobody. All right. So check this out. So like if I looked up blueberries, I just looked that up real quick. Oh man, this is going to be hard to see. But basically what I want to show you is how much text is on here and how many diagrams are on here. So just on the topic of blueberries in this book, there's 3 pages on blueberries, and then you have another 2 pages on strawberries, and then you have 3 pages on blackberries, raspberries. So this book is very, very, very in depth. So if there's anybody out there, this is not a book we're selling, or we don't have any, connections with this. But if you are looking for a homesteading resource, I would highly recommend this book. And it goes through everything. It covers so many topics. It literally goes from, I'll just go through the tabs here. It goes through animals. It goes through cooking, crafts, gardening, well-being, which is like first aid and medicinal stuff. And then it even has a home section that talks about like building block walls, making mortar. It goes through a ton of stuff.
Drop one to hold it up again.
This is the book. It's called Country Wisdom and Know-How.
And Anna mentioned that it's her go-to book.
Yeah, I would have to say that there's a lot of times where I can hop on the internet real quick. I'm looking for, what's the gestation period of a sheep. But if you don't have that, this would be great to have as a backup. So there's nothing like a hard copy, something that's there. I think I got it on Amazon for like, I want to say it was under $20 when I got it.
And a lot of that too is that it has no fluff. Like a lot of times you'll go on the internet and you'll look for something, there's a lot of fluff. That doesn't have a lot of fluff.
Yeah. Also, Copperhead put, and how much was the author? I don't even think it has one author. It probably has
editors of story.
Yeah, it probably has hundreds of contributors that made this book up. If I were to have to guess, I don't think there's any way. Well, it says it's $13.
Thanks, Copperhead, for doing that.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate
that.
Like I said, if there is one reference that has everything you want to know about homesteading, I would highly recommend that book.
So that book is really big. And so it doesn't fit in the RV, and I was planning on sticking it in a box.
Yeah.
So I had it in my craft room. Little did I know he's been looking for the book.
I've been looking for that book, yeah. So my neighbor asked me about it, and he's like, "Hey, can you recommend?" I'm like, "I had this book. It was awesome, and I don't know where it's at." And so I looked down as we're getting set up for the live stream, and it's sitting right here at the bottom of this shelf.
So the original is $12.99, and the new one is the updated version for about $20, which is about what you had said you had paid for.
Yeah.
Oh, so I'm like laughing because when he saw, he's like, "Hey!" And I'm like, "Oh, it's big and bulky. Like that's why it's over here." Yeah. So Ray Helly had mentioned what the good news was.
Yeah, what's the good news?
So
we're ready now.
I think she said Z. I have to go back up there. It said Z is right there.
Z had his first harvest today. Oh, what did he?
I'm uploading the video in a couple of minutes. I'm excited. I want to go check it out.
I don't think we've really harvested anything. Actually,
Jules came in. I just saw it. Hello, Jules.
Hang on a second.
I'm yelling, making all kinds of racket.
My nose is tickling me. I got to sneeze off camera.
Let me see. There was something else over here. Patty wanted to. Oh, Wickershire. Before I forget, you mentioned where you're looking at. Metcalfe County is a good county.
Metcalfe County.
I say that wrong. And then Patty Craig wanted to know if we started anything in the garden yet. We actually did plan on discussing that because we haven't done any videos.
And I take full blame for that.
I'm glad because I was about to.
I've been busy. And actually, my wife, she recorded the demolition videos, our last 2 videos, taking up the flooring and then taking down the ceiling. And she actually got on that and made sure that she got a final project out that week. And she's like, I need a break. She told me, I think it was Monday or Tuesday. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And then I got busy, and I have a bunch of material, but I didn't get enough time to put it together, so I need to do that.
I'm sure most YouTubers can agree. It's the editing that really.
Yeah, it's the editing.
Because the recording is not too bad, but it's the editing that takes hours upon hours. Barron County is right next to us, so it's called Metcalf. M-E-T, right?
M-E-T.
Calf, like the cow.
But it has an E at the end.
Calf with an E. Metcalf.
Yep.
It's actually, I've heard that Barron County, I think is one, if I remember correctly, is one of the more expensive counties, right?
Yeah.
Other than Lexington. And
in southern Kentucky, Barron County is...
yes, Metcalf.
Yep, you got it.
It's a good county.
Actually, it is. I think it's one of the lower. I forget how they call that, like lower income or lower. I don't know, but maybe just call it like a poor county. But
then, like as I'm seeing it, it's kind of like, I know a lot of people are like, don't go to Kentucky, it's poor there. It's like a poor state. But then I realized, like, well, a lot of it is it's farmers with large property, they're homesteading, and in comparison to their wealthier neighbors who have a better paying job in the sense of like engineers and things like that, they are poor. But at the same time, I love it here. I've really grown to love it. And Bomber Steve came on. Hello.
Hey, Bomber Steve. Welcome to this side of the world. I'm pretty sure Bomber Steve's in Australia.
Skunk jerky? Watch your mailboxes.
What?
Funny if you saw my last video. Have you seen that video?
I haven't seen it.
I have to go. Now I'm like super curious.
What are you talking about? Skunk jerky.
That's like a really good what are they called, teaser to your channel. I'm like, now I have to go see what Wickershire is talking about. I'm gonna open the mailbox like that, like, with a stick.
Skunk jerky.
And any town I should be looking for that has more unrestricted. Am I reading that right?
I would say a lot of that is governed by the counties. So those regulations come from the counties.
Coming from Arizona, that was something that was new to us. Like in Arizona, and I know most people, it's like the towns. Like you're like, oh, I live in Tucson, Phoenix. Not really the county. And we come here, and even if we say, oh, we're in blah, blah, blah town, or like, what county is that in? Or, oh, you're in so-and-so county. And so the counties are more like a collection of small towns, and so they're known as the county instead of the town.
Yeah, there's so few. Just avoid Edmonton. No, Edmonton is in Metcalf County, and Edmonton has all the same building regulations that we do. Edmonton is what's known as the county seat or the county capital. So like all of the county buildings, like if you wanted to go get your driver's license or whatever, that would all be in Edmonton if you live in Metcalf County.
Bomber Steve said we have 2 weeks till the big move into the new house.
Wow.
Yeah, that's exciting. Congratulations.
Where are you saying Bomber Steve? It says Sweeney's Creek Farm.
But it says right here, look it, right there. Bomber Steve on our Homestead channel.
Oh. I didn't know Bomber Steve was doing double duty like that. All right. Good eye, detective. Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited for you guys. That is really neat.
Yeah,
2 weeks.
That's awesome. Yeah, I wouldn't worry at all about Edmonton. Edmonton, actually, the closer you can get to Edmonton, the more population you're going to have there. We're about 20 minutes south of Edmonton. So
we are actually near Monroe too.
Yeah, we're at the bottom south end of the county. So if you're a detective and you triangulate with those 3 points that we gave you, you should know exactly where we're at right now.
So Wickershire said, "Oh my God, they have his daughter said, pointed out, oh my goodness, they have McDonald's sold." She kills me. So it's funny because when we were looking in this area, my kids were very like, I don't know. And there was a Little Caesars, and my son, who was giving us the most hassle, was like, I'm sold.
The Little Caesars is like 30 minutes away.
Still, it sold him.
Yeah.
That was his green light, because I know when we were in Clifton, they didn't have one. And then when we were in visiting, we were in Clifton, Arizona visiting. And then when we were in Niagara Falls visiting, neither of them had Little Caesars. And he's like, ugh. So that's what won him, the Little Caesars. Don't have a McDonald's. So it's funny because he says they don't have a McDonald's sold. My kids don't like McDonald's. They don't like it. They're like, we joke with it's torture to them, because we're like, oh, do you want to eat at McDonald's? My son's is like, it tastes like cardboard. And I'm like, the problem is you're spoiled. That's the problem. Too much good food.
Yeah, Wickershire, if you find an area that you really want to be in, a lot of times there are cash deals that you're not going to find. Mm-hmm. You're not going to find them online. You're not going to find them on Zillow. You're not going to find them on a lot of those big real estate websites. And that was one thing that we learned. If we could get closer to the location and we could start searching more locally, you can actually drive around. Like, we can drive around our area and we'll see for sale signs that aren't anywhere listed anywhere. It's just a guy that wants to sell 5 acres or a guy that wants to sell 20 acres. And a lot of those never show up online. And a lot of times they're not marked up like that because they don't have a real estate agent. They're not going through that whole system. Not to say that they're not legit, but
they just have a different way of doing it.
Exactly. Yeah, I was just about to say, I didn't know exactly how to word it, but around here, if somebody's going to sell a property, a lot of times their first instinct is not to find a real estate agent. They have a property, they got 5 extra acres or whatever it might be. Somebody passed away, and they're just going to put a sign out there, and that's just the way they do it.
Well, even one of our...
he's mentioning Land Watch and Land. Yeah, you're not going to find these kind of things. Another really good resource where I've seen land deals that are very reasonable, very below market, is on classifieds. So it's not set up as it's not like Zillow. It's not a real estate exact website. So like Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, but you just have to be searching that particular zone. So I see stuff on Facebook Marketplace quite often. I see pretty decent deals. Of course, we're not really looking for property, but these are deals that never show up on Zillow. And
Paul and I have talked about a couple of times how we love Kentucky because it's the perfect mixture of like old time and like modern together. Like, some of their way of doing things, you're like, there's an easier way, like Google Maps, like we were saying earlier, that you're like, give me the address, and people are like, eh. But I know that one of our neighbors, not too far from here was saying that he had property to sell, and they did like little signs, and they had an auction. Like auctions are really big here.
Yeah, that's another one. Now, if you're just looking for 1 acre, a lot of people won't auction off an acre, just 1 acre. But sometimes what happens is like, say a family member gets a hold of it and it's 12 acres or 20 acres, and then they divide it up and then they auction off 1 or 2 or 5 acres. It all depends what's going on. But a lot of those auctions will never show up on Zillow or show up on a lot of these other websites.
So Free Hanley says, okay, heading now. I can't be on YouTube while I download. I give you guys a thumbs up and I'll watch the replay. So thanks, Free Hanley Maid. I'm excited to watch the video. I'm really excited. Gotta check it out. We'll give you a thumbs up.
Yeah, Nisi. Thanks for stopping by. It's good to see you. Check out your video with Z. And Free Hanley Maid's got a like an online revival thing that they got going on, which looked pretty neat. I forget what it was called. It was like Godspeed or God Week or something like that. It looked really neat, and they had some guest speakers that they were going to do online. I just saw that on her channel. I think it was yesterday she put that out.
So I know there's a few comments up above. I tried searching online, and they talked about you opening up a business on that, on drop up there. Maybe you could make that side business, because I'd be interested on being alert on stuff like that. Hey, you never know. And then
did you want to go down?
Yeah.
I'm tired of searching online because I'm looking in the Missouri, Arkansas, Kentucky, Tennessee, etc. Yeah, it's that's the zone that we were looking into.
We can spend up to, I want at least 20 acres. And there's actually a lot in comparison to our neighbors. We are puny. We only have 8 acres, but a lot of the farms around us are huge. Like I know our neighbor was like, oh, this is like a little farm. And then the other one's like the big farm. And I'm like, you have a lot of acres here. Like, how many acres do you have here? They're like 50. I'm like, I don't consider that a little farm. Ours is like farm comparison.
Yeah, it depends. It depends how you're farming. A lot of these conventional farmers, like, they won't mess with stuff that's even under like 100 or a couple hundred acres. It's just too small to be moving all their equipment around.
Yeah, for us, 8 acres, I think is good and manageable. Like I remember when we talked about 8 acres, I'm like, that's really small. And then we came here and I'm like, I don't know if I could handle more than 8 acres. I know you've talked about like leasing with sheep and things, but I think on an everyday basis, 8 acres is definitely bueno. And then Free Hanley Maid said Godfest, May 30th through June 6th. So you're asking.
Yeah, so that's what it's called. I'd encourage you guys to check that out. It looks pretty neat. I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah. What Max Ben, you want?
Yeah, he's talking to Drops and asking him what he's looking for. Yeah, one thing with our property, like it's a smaller property. It had a home on it. The home did not have a lot of value, but still there was a lot of infrastructure on the property. Like it already had county water. It had a well, a working well. It has 2 ponds,
Creek.
It has a driveway, and that might sound like, oh, why are you even considering the fact or mentioning that it has a driveway? Well, if it doesn't, you have to pay for that. So, these are all things that you have to consider. It has electric on the property. It has internet. It actually has the possibility of getting. I was talking to the internet guy. Right now, we just have copper, which is the slower. But he said we could actually get fiber optic. That there's fiber optic at the corner, which is only like 300 feet from our house, if we wanted to go that route. So these are all things that you have to consider. So we're on 8 acres, and right now that's plenty for us, especially in the spring. Like a garden, I would say for our family, we could probably grow everything that we could ever want to grow in probably a third of an acre, like in just a garden, just produce. Now, when you start getting into like your zone 3 and 4, where you're going to go into like orchards and you're going to start getting into fruit and nut trees and stuff like that, you're going to need a little bit more property. So we really consider ourselves blessed, and we do have some opportunities as our sheep flock is growing. I think I mentioned to you guys last week that we had 4 lambs born, and that was last week, not this week, but 2 weeks ago. We had 4 lambs born in that week, and those were the first 4 lambs that we bred in December. So when we first started out with sheep, we wanted to just get a few ewes, which is the female sheep, and just kind of learn them and do that for a couple months. So we bought 4 of them, and then we came up with another goal shortly after we felt comfortable with them, which is we wanted to get up to about 10 ewes and try to breed them, and then try and get our stock, our complete flock up to 20. So we're actually at 20 sheep right now. We have 8 lambs, 1 breeding ram, and then 12 ewes, I believe it is. I think that sounds right. Yeah, 12, 8, and 1 equals 21. So yeah, so that's where we're at. So this coming year, we're actually looking at, depending on what type of possibilities and opportunities we get, we may be looking for some land to lease and grow that sheep production. So how do you feed the animals? Grazing. Yeah, so we're actually learning that part of it. And one of the things with the 20 sheep, that's the number that we calculated as 8 acres being able to support. So we calculated that we could support 20 sheep on 8 acres. And we use almost all of our property. Like a lot of properties will have like a couple acres of yard that are just like your landscaped, don't touch, don't use for livestock. But we use every square foot of grass that we have as pasture. So we will actually have the sheep out in front of our house, between the road and the house, for a couple of days, which is pretty cool when you're in the house, because then you can look out and see the sheep out the window. But a lot of people will think that's weird, but around here most people don't. But
Pastor made added questions up there on the top.
What do y'all think about the rising cost of everything? Are you concerned? We're in the middle of a house build, so it is something that we really have to consider. As far as lumber, building materials, concrete, all these things to build a house. We are looking at different methods that we never really considered, and one of them being ICF, and that is ICF. What does ICF stand for? Insulated concrete forms. So if you're not familiar with that, it basically, you get these big blocks. It's almost like, I don't know the exact dimensions. There's different manufacturers that make different dimension products. But basically you have like a foam, and then there's a plastic that ties them together, real thin brackets that tie this foam together. And these big foam panels, they probably are somewhere around 4 and 5 feet wide, tall. And then they're probably between 8 and 10 feet, maybe even 12 feet wide. So not piece, but threes.
Hello.
Why are you throwing me a number 3?
Come on. Can we do the third one? Yeah.
Oh, wants to know about the third one. So we've been considering these ICF panels. So you take these foam panels and you're basically what you're making is a foam form for concrete. So you take this foam and you lay it out. Of course, it has to be supported because it's got to be able to hold wet concrete. And the concrete's concrete's going to move a little bit when you're filling it in and all that. So you do have to have some structure. But that's something that we never even really considered, going through some alternative construction routes, trying to stay away from using as much lumber. And a lot of those lumber costs are in plywood or your sheeting. So that would make it so that we wouldn't have to sheet the outside of the house. And if you don't know our situation right now, you may have seen our demo videos. The original house is 30 by 30. And then I was looking for something around to draw on, but I ought to have like a little whiteboard over here at all times. But anyhow, hey, you got my tape measure.
Those are my tools.
See, I come into this craft room and I'm finding all of my stuff in here.
So, guys, my craft room.
She's like a little squirrel. She steals my stuff and hides it.
Those are mine. So
I can't get nothing done around here.
Paul's workshop area is like literally outside my craft area, and I love it because it's like having a hardware store. So I do take his stuff all the time, but I have it in a nice, neat area. So if he ever needs, he can technically come and look.
Yeah.
But that's my tape measure.
It's there.
I stole that. Don't take it from me.
So let me get back to the ICF. So our original house is 30 by 30, and that's going to stay standing. We're going to take off the lean-to, and then I'll kind of draw it up for you real quick. I got a piece of paper right here.
Oh.
Let me see if I grab do you got a marker, like a Sharpie?
It should be in that one. No.
Oh, I got one right here. Okay, so check it out. I'll draw it out for you real quick. Can you guys see this? All right, original house, 30 by 30. I can't really see that. Let me see. Okay, this isn't working out real good. Oh, there we go. Okay, so that's 30 by 30. And then this, it has a lean-to right here. And that is about 12 foot by 30. So this is going to come down. And then we're going to, in the place of that, we're going to come out about 20 feet. So 20 by 30. And in that new area, and this new area right here, I'll just kind of black it all in. This is all what we were calling phase 2. I know this is rough, but that area that's all blacked in will have that'll have a basement underneath it. So one of the reasons that we started looking into the ICF was because we were considering what we were going to build the basement out of.
And a basement's really big for several reasons. One of them, for me, the biggest one is tornado shelter.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is just storage.
Yeah, and we really like the idea of, now the basement might not be those exact dimensions, but the house above ground will be for sure those exact dimensions. The basement may be a little bit smaller than that, depending on what we can afford. So that's what we're calculating. So for the basement, we were looking at different options. Poured concrete, where somebody comes out and sets up these forms. It doesn't make any sense for us to build plywood forms because, like, that is very counterproductive because you have to buy all that plywood that's way overpriced and make forms out of it, and then you wreck the plywood, and then that just makes the cost of a poured wall very expensive. Then the other option was like cinder blocks, like your standard 16 by 8s. So I hope that answers your question. Are we concerned? I wouldn't say that we're concerned, like freaking out about it, but we are
mindful.
We are going down some different avenues that we normally weren't going down. So.
And then Drop, and I know Wickershire and Drop were talking a little bit about values on properties, and I did read up there earlier that Drop said that they had moved to Washington when his wife passed away, and he was taking care of his parents, and they recently passed away, so he's looking for a place to move. So my heart goes out to you, my condolences. That's rough. And then he talked about looking for different properties. I gave up on some structures on the property for a residence. Is that what it's saying?
I'm not sure where you're reading it.
It's that top one. So he's talking about different. They were talking back and forth about what to look for, and we actually did talk about metal roof. Part of our house currently has metal roof, and I think that we're definitely going to go on that route again. And I'm looking at the time, so we should discuss really quick about times and.
Yeah, so Permapasture, I know that you're doing a Friday night live. If you're still in here, I had asked before if you would give us kind of your schedule because we didn't want to run a live the same time that you were running. So what we were thinking our optimal time during the week was a 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on Fridays. So I know that Simply Jen runs a live stream at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, so we're just going to go right after her. I looked at the Shed Wars schedule, the calendar that they have there, and there was no one in that time slot. So we're trying to move off of Sunday just because our Sundays are getting busier. Yeah, our Sundays are getting busier, and we don't want to... we definitely don't want to stop doing the live stream, but we need to free up time on Sundays, is what that comes down to. It says they're going once a month, Friday at 8 p.m. So I'm assuming that's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because they should be on Eastern because they're in North Carolina. Is that right? 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time? So that would actually be 7 p.m. Our time. So that would be the exact same time, which wouldn't be good.
We have to go back to the drawing board. Yeah, because we're looking at the Shed Wars schedule is where we're looking at, and there was a time frame that was open. We're like, I think that's actually when Permapasture's on.
Yeah.
So you confirm that is
once a month, or maybe we'll just do it when they're not doing it. I mean, even if we did 3 weeks out of the month, and then do it when they do it.
Do you have a set Friday Permapasture? Or is that just like when?
Yeah, Billy, is there like a fourth Friday that you do or third Friday? Do you have like? Not that we're trying to tie you down to a schedule. We're just trying to figure out when we can go.
Yeah, and then really quick, Wickershire was mentioning about roofs, and so was Drop. And we actually have not enjoyed the metal roof for our house yet because we haven't moved in, but we have been in there. And everyone around here is like, metal roofs are amazing. Metal roofs, and it's so windy here that a few of our neighbors are like, metal roofs are the way to go because you'll end up with shingles gone. And so I know I don't want to go shingles because of that. And it's true. It's not like horrible windy. It's not like when we were driving through, was it Oklahoma? Mm-hmm. It was like scary windy. It's nothing like that, but it's enough wind to knock stuff down and pull things. If it's not grounded, it may or may not.
Yeah, we get some wind. We get some wind. About a month from last Friday. Okay.
Oh, rainwater collecting. That's true. I never thought about it.
Yeah, that's a good point. We actually have a roof on our workshop. We're actually inside of the workshop. The room that we're in is built inside the workshop. And that structure's, I forget what it was. I want to say it's close to 30 by 30 also. But it has an old metal roof, and we're starting to see a lot of rust on it. And one of the concerns that we have, because the majority of our rainwater is being collected off this roof, is what type of coating or what type of, we don't really want to replace all the metal, but if we can kind of coat it with something, and that's still rainwater safe. One thing that I've come across is like a silicone based. They say that's okay, but still, almost any of your synthetics that you're going to put out in the sun is going to degrade and break down, and that's going to end up in the water somehow. So, yeah, we're looking at that. I think this roof was put on, now that you mentioned the 50 years, I think it was put on in 89. So that's the concrete stamp that we saw on the concrete for this building.
So we have to get together with Pastor because he says we can go later, but I don't know if that's something you want to do. And then Wickershire says, I do not host lives, but I do join them, which we're glad that you do because you joined us. And this is when I go on StreamYard if others host them.
Yeah, we've been meaning to do StreamYard. StreamYard is like you can actually have different guests up. Where you see like the panels, and they have.
That's when you can share pictures too.
Yeah, you can do a lot with StreamYard, and we've been meaning to research and get into that.
Yeah, because I'm a visual person, and so I don't know if you've noticed, like in our videos, when we're like, we did blah blah, we'll show you whatever blah blah is because I'm a visual learner and I like to see what people are talking about. So
yeah, that is actually preferred. Maybe we'll do that, and then we'll take some of the videos that we're having a hard time, or we don't have a lot of time to edit, and then we'll just have them. We'll have some different clips that we can refer to.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, watch these lambs jump around.
Oh my goodness, guys, they're so adorable.
Yeah, we gotta definitely put out some of these lamb videos. These little lambs, especially I mainly see them at sunset. It's like, I don't know if the cool air comes in and they just like start feeling frisky. A lot of them are under 2 weeks old and they're just jumping. Boop, 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 boop,
oh, they look so cute. The other day, the kids and I were in the middle of working and we literally all stopped to look out the window like crazies because they're almost like playing tag and they do this cute little like when they jump. Oh my goodness. It was adorable. And then Paul was talking to him and he's like, and I'm like, Paul, are you listening? And he's like, look at the lambs. And then there I am looking at the lambs.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
So really quick, Wickershire, no, it was Drop, said, just get with Gil.
Gil at Cam Patton.
He loves to teach people StreamYard for free. You should do that.
Yeah, it's not a matter of learning. It's just a matter of doing it because I think it's pretty self-explanatory. It seems like a pretty easy program.
It'd be nice for some help we should get with him if we need any assistance though.
Yeah.
So,
I know who Gil is.
Before I forget, next Sunday, are we going to be doing a live?
Oh, next Sunday is somebody's birthday.
Yay!
Somebody's birthday.
And our anniversary is coming up too.
Our anniversary is 4 days after that.
Mm-hmm. But I'm excited for my birthday. So I don't know if we're going to be doing a live that day. Or are we going to, when are we planning on switching?
Yeah, let's do it this week. We'll switch it to Friday at 7. Friday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
If it's not encroaching with Herma.
We said he was going to do it a month from the last one. That's what he said. But we'll just keep an eye on his thing.
Yeah.
So we don't run him over. Elastomeric Paint. approved for potable rainwater catchment. In Arizona, we used a ton of elastomeric. I actually coated the RV with elastomeric, but I didn't know that it was rainwater approved. So that is good to know. We actually caught rainwater and we used it for the plants. There's some things that I don't mind using for the plants that I wouldn't use for animals and people. Definitely not people. But I'll have to look into that elastomeric again.
And then Drop said, "Is Mama getting a new SUV? I wish."
Mama's got a brand new van.
I actually loved my last car, which was a Honda CR-V, but it was an idiot magnet in the sense that idiots love to hit it. And so we would show up and it would have the new dent or a new damage. And so we ended up getting rid of that car, and I miss my car.
Yeah,
but now
we had 3 claims on that car, and it was all non-moving parked situations.
Mm-hmm. We were in our driveway and someone hit our car. We're like, dude, we are in our house. Like, you would think it's safe. And no, someone hit it and ran. So
yeah, but all 3 times it was somebody hitting the thing, and
Yeah.
we didn't know who they were. So we had to
pay.
We had to take the hit.
But now I'm like, driving Miss Daisy. Like, I'm like, Paul, can you take me, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, I'm not going to go out today. I'm like, he's like, you can drive yourself. I'm like, I don't want to. I got spoiled. I am getting spoiled. But we are over an hour, my love.
We're over an hour, and that means that Cinderella's slippers are going to disappear.
They're going to turn back into junk glass.
Mm-hmm. That was a good one. Where's my list? It's right behind my very sophisticated drawing. We talked about moving the time. Next Sunday's the little darling's birthday. Magazines all went out.
Mm-hmm.
We were hoping to get some feedback to see if they're received. And yeah.
Oh, and then Drop said his dad backed up into a car.
It was a big pickup.
Yeah, and it says the pickup in a snowbank once crushed it.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
Yeah.
You don't even know it's there sometimes.
Like, I felt something. Bloop. Crashed car.
Sorry about that.
Sorry, dog. Remember Angelina? What is it? Angelina something. Johnson?
Johnson, yeah.
Oh, have you guys ever heard of that one? And the lady runs over a dog and she's Asian. And she's driving and she runs it over. She's like, oh, sorry, dog.
Wickershire is giving me all kinds of products to use on my... He says there's a product called Mirror Seal. I'll have to look into that. Yeah, I looked at it a little while ago. We got to do something about it. Thanks, Wickershire.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everybody that joined us today, either on the live or the replay. And once again, like I had mentioned earlier, we really appreciate it. I do look forward to the live streams. I mean, there's days I'm sure that you guys know just not feeling it. I'm like, no, I can't let them down. We got to go, Paul. So thank you. Thank you. Bomber Steve, is always a pleasure. Thank you. We enjoyed having you guys and the conversations. So yeah, thank you. I hope you guys have a very nice rest of your Sundays.
Yep.
Sunday. I said that in plural.
Stay tuned to our channel. We'll have at least 3 videos out this week on Tuesday, Thursday, and then the live stream on Friday.
Oh, really?
Unlikely.
Yeah. I wish we were that diligent.
We will see you Friday for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Our next live stream will be at Friday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thanks again for joining us.